Just wanted to make this quick video. First of all, quick introduction. My name's Cullen. I've been in the high ticket sales space for about a year and a half, 2 years now. I'm currently closing on one of the largest trading offers in the entire space right now. And right now I'm just trying to make as much content as easily accessible to every single salesperson as possible without having to buy a course for $10,000, $30,000. So completely for free, right? The first thing I want to talk about today is, first of all, what is high ticket sales, right? So when you're getting out of college and everything, this is what happened for me. I didn't go to college, I went to high school, right? I went through high school, I graduated, I got into the drop shipping, the trading, all that fun stuff, right? All in the get rich quick schemes. But one thing I failed to realize is I never wanted to learn an actual valuable skill that could take me to where I wanted to go, those 30K months, those 50K months, whatever the case may be, right? And so one thing a lot of y'all fail to realize or need to realize in the first place is what actual skill are you going to want to master fresh out of high school or even college, right? Because a lot of people are now coming to the realization that getting out of college and getting out of high school is only going to get you so far in life. There are no guarantees as far as jobs. The job markets are pretty crap right now, let's be honest. And there's no guarantees for anything. There's only two guarantees in this world. That's death and taxes. It's unfortunate, but that's part of living, right? So in this situation right now, like biggest part of my first piece of content here that I want to focus on is high ticket sales. Now, no matter what you see in this world, you've always been sold your entire life. You walk into that beauty shop, you walk into that hair salon, you walk into that GameStop store, you walk into a Walmart, a retail store, whatever the case may be. You're always getting sold something, even on Amazon. Like you go to order a product on Amazon, they give you the upsells, like, oh, get this credit card, it'll give you more points, get this extra product that most people buy with this product you just bought, all that stuff, right? Everything in this world is sales. That's how the world goes round. You think about the president making deals with other countries, that is all sales, right? So until you can master that skill, if you can master that skill, you will always have some source of income. There will always be products to be sold. There will always be everything, right? So with this, like one thing I wanted to focus on is the main pros and cons of being in sales, right? Of being in high ticket sales specifically, which is just, high ticket sales is literally just a fancy word for closing remote deals online for influencers like Alex Eubanks, whoever, right? Like just big influencers in the space in the fitness niche, day trading, e-commerce, drop shipping, personal branding, all of that stuff, right? You're just closing their mentorship or coaching programs for prospects meaning clients, students, whatever. And then you're taking a percentage commission off of that total deal. So let's say, for example, I'm selling a 10K product, right? And I make 10% commission. Easy math, that's $1,000, right? If I'm selling a $4,000 product and I make 10% commission, I'm making $400, right? Simple math there. Now there are other offers, bigger ones that sell 75K products, $100,000 products, and you can make 10 to 15,000, even 20, 30,000 per sale, right? But the first part of that is you actually have to get good at the skill of sales before you can venture into that niche, right? So the three niches I want to focus on are trading and investing, personal branding, and e-commerce or drop shipping, as y'all know it, right? So with this, the main pros and cons of sales, and I'm not going to sit here and pitch y'all some dream or anything like that, because sales is a dream, but once you get good at it, right? It's going to take a lot of time and dedication, just like anything else. Like most of y'all that are going to be watching this video right now are going to have been through college, through high school, everything like that, and you don't know what to do with the rest of your life, right? This video is for you. So with this, the main pros and cons of working in high ticket sales from an experienced sales rep such as myself. Now, the biggest pro is you can work wherever you want, you can do it whenever you want, and you can make however much money you want. Those are the main three things, right? Because you look at a 9-to-5, for example, like a normal 9-to-5, you're capped based off of how much time you can put into that job, right? Like you have 40 hours a week is a full-time thing, but then you look at blue collar, that's like 60 to 80 hours a week. You can only work so much. You only have limited time. Time is one thing you can't make more of and you can't get back, right? But money, that's pretty much infinite, right? So if you can learn the actual skill set and master it, you can then get to that point where you're making what you would be making at a 9-to-5 in about 5 seconds, right? So with this, like as far as those are the pros, now the cons, right? Now most of y'all that have been interested in the high ticket sales space, just getting into sales in general, are gonna be looking at this like, or it's marketed, I should say, as like, okay, you can go chill on the beach, take a couple phone calls here and there, and then boom, you're a millionaire by the end of the year. You're making 30K a month, right? It's not how that works, right? Like, I know some of y'all fall for the get rich quick scheme stuff. Sales is quite the opposite of that, right? What really happens in sales, right, is you sit down on your computer every single day. You wake up in the morning, you do whatever, gym, workout, breakfast, whatever. You sit down, you book your calendar out, you do self-genning, you do your own outbound, you get inbound appointments, whatever, right? Depends on who you're working for. And then after that, you take sales calls for 8 to 10 hours, Monday through Sunday, or Monday through Saturday, however much you want to work, right? I do 12 hours a day, Monday through Sunday, or Monday through Saturday, I mean. So it really depends on how much money you want to make, right? My biggest month so far was about 24K. So, and that was last year. That was at 21 years old. So right now, like, just putting that in perspective for you, right? This is not some dream you're going to get into, right? But if you want to actually be successful in your life, you'll make some change in your life to actually take this step, right? Another big thing. Why is there such a high demand for quality and skilled sales reps, whether that be a setter, whether that be a closer, whoever, right? Main reason for that, which I have fully drawn out, and if y'all want to like get a full breakdown of, sorry, I wouldn't flip, want to get a full breakdown of my entire process as far as like what exactly sales is, and then my entire script breakdown as well, which is over here, just drop a comment and I'll shoot that over to you. But as far as everything else, like with, let me pull this back up, with why there's such a high demand for skilled sales reps. Now, first of all, is going to be nobody wants to grind anymore, right? Now, all of y'all that are watching this video, you've probably had lazy days. Like, today's a lazy day for me because it's Sunday, right? Who doesn't want to be lazy on Sunday? But with this, like, sales is a completely different grind, right? So with this, most people only want to take 1 to 2 hours of sales calls a day because that's what it's pitched to them as the dream and everything like that, right? So with that, if you're taking 1 to 2 hours of sales calls a day, you might be making a full-time job salary, which isn't bad for working 1 to 2 hours a day. Don't get me wrong. But with this, if you want to get to those 30K months, those 50K months, those 70, 100K months, even 300K months, right? You need to have more skills, such as managing your pipeline, doing follow-ups, what else? Doing follow-ups, doing your own outbound calls, so setting your own deals, doing outreach, everything like that, right? Because the main difference between a 5K a month closer or setter and a 30 or 40K a month closer or setter is a 30 or 40K a month closer or setter is managing their pipeline, doing follow-ups, constant communication with people that they're following up with every day, every 2 days, every 3 days, whatever. And they're also doing their own outbound. They're not what's called baby birding closing. Essentially, all baby birding means is you're waiting for deals to get booked onto your pipeline, and that's all you depend on. If you have no deals on your pipeline, like in your Google Calendar or whatever, then you take no sales calls. That's not how sales is, right? So with that, kind of the last thing I want to run through is, or last two things. One, what is the average close rate of most people in the high ticket sales space versus what is the average close rate of the top 1% of people in the high ticket sales space? The first part of that is the average close rate of the top, let's say 10%, right? Or the average, right? It's going to be around 20 to 25%, sometimes 30, maybe, right? So with this, actually I would say like 15 to 23%. That sounds more like it. So that's like the average Joe. That's like the person that bought one sales course, one sales mentorship and thinks they're the shit. Excuse my language. Next thing. What is a great close rate? What are the top 1%? So like the people that are coaching people on sales trainings, on how to close more deals, like Jeremy Miner, like Daniel G, like all those guys, they have probably minimum a 65 to 75% close rate. So meaning out of every, let's say 5 people that get booked on their calendar, they close 3 of them, minimum, right? So with that, like you kind of put that into perspective, whereas a average person is probably closing maybe 1 out of 5 or 1 out of 4, whatever the case may be, right? You have to decide which type of person do you want to be. Do you want to be the person that actually shoots for the stars and hits those 30K months, or do you want to be the person that pretends they like the 30K months but don't want to put the work in behind the scenes, right? Now the last thing is why most closers get stuck at 5 to 8K a month, which is where I was at for quite a long time. I'm not going to lie to y'all here, right? The reason most people get stuck at 5 to 8K a month is just because what I said earlier, why there's such a high demand of skilled sales reps, right? Because most people like will just hire whoever, like they gotta hire people because they have sales calls that have to be taken, whether they're good sales reps or bad sales reps, right? But if you're looking to actually get out of that 5 to 8K a month range, what you need to do is, first of all, manage your pipeline better. There are a lot of deals you have no idea. I found this out the hard way. I lost a lot of deals because I just wasn't doing follow-ups. I wasn't managing my pipeline last year, everything like that, right? And if I can do that and still make about 15K a month from that, you're missing out. Like I missed out. I probably could hit 15 or 20, 30K months from that, right? But the reason most people are stuck at that 5 to 8K a month still, even after doing that stuff, is because they're not managing their pipeline, they're not doing follow-ups, and when they do follow up, they'll text a prospect or call and be like, "Hey John, yeah, just following up with you about your payment for the course." What? Excuse me? Like I'm hanging up the phone instantly. Like if you're not, you're lying to yourself, right? So instead, you have to use certain wording to get out of those situations. But the biggest factor of why people are stuck at 5 to 8K a month is because they try and use cookie cutter scripts that don't work for them. First of all, scripts don't work. Second of all, you need to follow a fundamentals. Once you can master a fundamentals, it's like learning how to ride a bike. Once you learn how to ride a bike, you don't forget how to ride a bike, right? Nobody forgets how to ride a bike unless you just have like amnesia or something, right? So with that, like I hope this all makes sense so far. But that's the main reason why most people get stuck at that 5 to 8K a month mark and why I did as well. Because one, I was not doing follow-ups. Two, I was baby birding closing, so I was just depending on meetings to get booked on my calendar. And then three, I was following a script, so I sounded robotic on my sales calls. Whereas now, you can banter, you can be a little bit rude, be a little bit of a pain. Because what they need, they're hopping in that call because they need help with that certain niche. And so unless you can hold them accountable to actually get to that goal of whatever it may be, leaving their 9 to 5, making 10K a month, whatever, who cares, right? Once you can get them in that mindset or get yourself in that mindset that you can actually help them, you will break out of that 5 to 8K a month, and I can promise you that. Matter of fact, I can guarantee you that, right? But with all that being said, that's just a quick introduction to high ticket sales, what exactly it is, remote closing, all that stuff. If you want more content like this, drop a comment, and I will be posting videos pretty much just about every single week, right? My next video, kind of a little leak right here, is going to be handling certain objections and certain word tracks to use to get to the root objection, from think about it, from I need to talk to my wife, my husband, whatever, right? But I appreciate y'all watching to the end, and I will see you in the next video.